Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chtib Zhang show. It is episode 45. In today's episode, Eric, finally news around the NHL that I've been waiting for weeks, literally.
Months.
Eichel, months, actually. I stopped saying it at the end of the video because I got tired of it. I never thought it was going to happen. Jack Eichel is officially traded from the Buffalo Sabres to the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll break that down, give our opinions. Give some reactions to UFC 268 and this upcoming Vegas fight this Saturday between Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez for the featherweight number one spot title. But before we get into that, as always, this episode is brought to you by Hot Streak Fantasy, the best in-play fantasy app on the market. Pick 2 to 3 players in the MLB, which is done now, Eric. So that would more make sense more for the NBA and NFL right now. Watch them and your favorite teams make you some money. Hot Streak is matching your initial deposit as a bonus when you use promo code HOTSAUCE. So get Hot Streak Fantasy app now. Quick, easy way to make money when gambling with sports. I know that's a huge thing. So NFL, NBA is live now. So go make some money for that. But before we jump into the video, as always, roll it. Welcome back to the Chtib Zhang show, episode 45. Eric, let's get into it. Jack Eichel, finally, no longer a member of the Buffalo Sabres. I'm sorry if I sound a little congested there, Eric, too. Had a little cold, I guess, this past week. Still trying to get over that. So my voice sounds a little different. Don't worry, though. I'm not dying. Jack Eichel is now a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. He has been traded to Vegas, and Buffalo in return, Eric, they get Peyton Krebs, a first-round pick, top 10 protected, second-round pick, and Alex Tuck. So there's a lot of conditions to go by. Vegas gets a third-round conditional pick if 2023 or 2024, depending on that first-round pick, if it's top 10 protected. If it's not top 10 protected, then, or if it's not in the top 10, Vegas or Buffalo gets that first pick. If it's in the top 10, then they get next year's pick with next year's second round pick. So it's just a year later. If it's in the top 10, they get a 2022. No, sorry. If it's in the top 10, they get a 2023 first round pick and a 2024 second round pick. And if it's not in the top 10, they get that 2022 first rounder and the 2023 second rounder. But yeah, this was a big trade that happened. A lot of mixed feelings around the NHL community, Eric. But let's give our opinions based off of what we know with the injury and everything like that. So as we know, Jack Eichel is injured right now, seeking a artificial disc replacement surgery for his neck. And obviously, as we know, Buffalo didn't want him to get that because the NHLPA bargained their rights away in the CBA for teams to be able to control the medical aspect of a player. They get to decide what kind of surgery they want. It's kind of crazy if you think about it, that was in the CBA, but it was. They bargained it away. And so that led to frustrations with Eichel and the Sabres, and they just never got on an agreement point. And then, of course, Buffalo seems like they're heading this rebuild, yet they're kind of killing it this season early on. And Jack Eichel wanted none of it. He wants to win. So he asked for a trade finally. He wants the surgery he wants. And Eric, as you know, big market free agents, when they hit the mark, everyone, was Vegas going to be in it jokingly because, they want to win the cup. Well, Vegas no longer joking. They actually want to win a Stanley Cup because when the team actually came into the NHL, their owner, Bill Foley, said he wanted a Stanley Cup within 6 years. That was his mission. He wanted a Stanley Cup within 6 years. We were all like, that's kind of crazy. Expansion team, you got to build your draft picks and your young talent. Well, George McPhee, obviously, he's getting paid for a reason. He's doing what his boss basically wants him to do. Eric, let me give you a little note here. Vegas has entered the league in 2017. They've had 5 years now, first round picks to pick from. In 2017, they had 3: Cody Glass, Nick Suzuki, Eric Brandstrom, all gone. 2018, no pick in the Thomas Tatar trade. They traded away. 2019, Peyton Krebs, gone too. So 2020, Brendan Brisson, I guess could be on his way out of Vegas
Yeah.
anytime soon. So yeah, they don't care right now about their long-term plan. They want to win the cup. They traded all their first round picks. Now they trade Peyton Krebs. They get Jack Eichel, who has 5 years left, $80 million contract, making $10 million a year. No retain of salary of any kind. So let's break this down. A lot of people believe that the Buffalo Sabres got fleeced, that they didn't get enough in
Yeah.
return, or Vegas fleeced them and they got the better player, clearly Jack Eichel, and that it wasn't worth it. So let's break it down. As we know, Calgary was in the mix. Oh, we got to talk about
Yeah.
that too. Calgary was in the mix. That was
Yeah.
funny. Kevin Weeks, who a reporter for NHL Network, I believe, he was actually a former teammate of Kevin Adams in Carolina when they played for 3 years. Eric, he was a former teammate of the Buffalo GM, the now Buffalo GM. He tweeted a report that Matthew Tkachuk could be headed to Buffalo. He was involved in a deal, and then the GMs, both Buffalo and Calgary's GM, said, no, that's not true. That's inaccurate. Well, it left some wondering, did Kevin Adams and Kevin Weeks conspire to make sure that the asking price for Jack Eichel could be raised for a team like Vegas? They would have to pay more if they knew Matthew Tkachuk was in the mix.
Exactly.
So a lot of people are kind of, especially the Flames, very angry at that, obviously, because that was just totally inaccurate. And I do believe Kevin Weeks was kind of doing his boy a solid here and just threw that out. I don't know if Kevin Adams was in on it, but I do believe Kevin Weeks just out of for shit said Matthew Tkachuk's involved, and Vegas was getting scared.
Because he is a reliable journalist.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised.
So that's why a lot of people were like, damn.
Exactly. And so, no, Matthew Tkachuk was not involved, but the Flames, Pierre LeBrun on TSN, did say the Flames were actually very close in acquiring Jack Eichel, and some believe that he'd be a member of the some people from the Vegas Golden Knights believe that he'd be a member of the Calgary Flames. But no, Vegas gets their guy. Okay, so let's break it down. Vegas gets Jack Eichel, 5 years, $80 million left. He's got $10 million AAV. They get a conditional third round pick. Whatever, doesn't matter. They're not stockpiling. They're probably going to trade that pick anyway. So a lot of people were saying that, the return, they could have got more picks. They could have got more picks. Buffalo could have got more picks from Vegas, whatever, if they retained salary, because Buffalo's bad and they have the salary cap to do it. They just traded $10 million off their books, and now they have the salary. Well, here's the thing, which is weird that you look at how you look at it. If you want to retain salary, the max you can do is 50%. So that's $5 million a year that you're retaining Jack Eichel's salary for the next 5 years, right? And who knows what kind of pick you could have gone back, if it was another conditional first round pick or something like 2 second round, whatever. The thing about this is I really think Buffalo believes they can win, because I really thought they were going to retain salary so they can get better draft picks, but clearly they're trying to build a winning team and they don't want Jack Eichel's salary to hurt their long-term plans or their future plans.
Okay.
For some reason, I guess Buffalo, even though they're having a nice start to the season, they kind of believe that they're building something there. And, maybe, but if you really look at the bigger picture in the Atlantic with the tough teams, I don't see Buffalo kind of really pushing for the tops anytime soon. Like, they're good now. They're not going to make the playoffs. But I guess in my eyes, Buffalo sees like they want to win now and they don't want to retain the salary, which is fair, I guess. If they have a successful team in the near future, I guess it would have worked out, because $5 million a year paying for Jack Eichel would have sucked. But I guess that's how they see it. So I guess that's how fans, you got to realize that Buffalo sees it a different way than the fans see it. They're seeing it as they're trying to win now, I guess, somehow, even though
you don't put too much trust in Buffalo. They've been ruining their even when they signed Taylor Hall, it was like, okay, they're gonna win.
Yeah,
blew that out. But they do have a lot of picks stacked up right now, though. They have a bunch of picks.
They are stacking a bunch of picks up right now, and and their goalie situation, which I'm curious about. Do they really believe Craig Anderson, or I don't know who their goalie prospects are or anything like that?
Well, they have Devin Levy that they traded in the Sam Reinhart trade, but he's still.
Oh yeah, they got they did. He is very young. But there's no answer. Like, hopefully he can develop and be their starting goaltender, I guess,
Yeah.
in the foreseeable future if they're expected to win, because Craig Anderson's not your answer. That's maybe, for the year, Craig Anderson will do you well. But after that, no, you can't bring him on next year or whatever like that. He's pushing 40 something now, right?
That's fair.
All right, Buffalo. Eric, they get Peyton Krebs, 17th
Yeah.
overall pick in 2019. He's got 1 assist in 13 career NHL games right now. They get a first round pick on top of that, which is top 10 protected in 2022, because as we know, Vegas going through a bunch of injuries, Mark Stone, Max Pacioretty, now Jack Eichel injured. They're not off to a hot start in the season. So obviously some precaution for George McPhee to make sure that, if his team actually just shits the bed right now before those key players come back and they can't come back, then if they get a pick in the top 10, they'll keep it. I'm kind of surprised they were able to get a top 10 protected pick, honestly, for a guy like Jack Eichel, but they did. It kind of, I guess you look at it as a hockey move because this pick is effective of this year, right? It's dependent on where you finish this year. So I guess, in case they do suck, but I doubt it. They get a second round pick, like I said, either in 2023 or 2024. And then they get Alex Tuch, who is a New York native, Eric. He is from New York. He has 5 years left on his deal at $4.75 million. That's a great contract. That's someone I could see, him sticking around in Buffalo because he's from New York. I could see him playing there for the rest of his contract. And he's a 20-something goal scorer, Alex Tuch, when healthy, at a less than $5 million pay cut, which is what you probably would have been paying Jack Eichel if you decide to retain salary. Jack Eichel, $5 million would have been making more, or you're paying more for a guy who you're playing against than someone who's on your team, which would have been funny. So yeah, that's basically the trade. Now here's the thing, Eric. Here's the problem. Jack Eichel, injury timeline, 4 months. His surgery. He's most likely getting it done this week, he says. So he'll be out for 4 months, which it's November now. So December, January, February, March. So he's kind of coming back for the playoffs, maybe the end of the regular season, so the start of the playoffs. Here's the problem now. There's no salary cap in the playoffs, as we know, with the Kucherov situation that we learned real quick. Here's the problem. Now, we could see, I really do believe Jack Eichel won't return. Okay, I'll break it down. Here's what's going to happen. They have Mark Stone, Max Pacioretty, and others on long-term injured reserve, as we know, doesn't go against your cap. The cap situation right now in the NHL is set at 81.5. That's the limit. You can't go over that right now for this year. Vegas right now, Eric, with everyone they have, doesn't matter about injuries, whatever, counting all the injured players' money, they are at $11 million over the cap currently. Technically not, because they're on long-term injured reserve. But with those salaries, they are $11 million over the cap, which you can't play in the regular season if those guys come back. So now you gotta make a trade. Basically, Vegas is going, in my opinion, to have to trade someone. Well, they will. They're going to have to trade someone to clear room. So you got guys like Riley Smith, who has been with Vegas since the start, could be headed who could be on another team at the trade deadline. He's carrying a $5 million cap hit right now for this season. Dadonov, someone you could see getting traded, but I doubt it because he signed for another year and he has a 10-team no trade list. So nobody's going to probably want that contract for 2 years. Braden McNabb, Eric, $2.5 million. They currently have 7 defensemen Vegas signed on their roster. So Braden McNabb, $2.5 million. They could replace him. That's an easy contract. Hopefully they can trade. And then for those who maybe are confused, Nolan Patrick, Zach Whitecloud are injured right now. They are on the IR. However, the IR is only meant to make room for someone to get called up. It has nothing to do with the cap. The cap still counts and everything like that. So we're not done. Vegas won't be done coming near the trade deadline. They're going to have to clear room. They're going to have to trade guys like Riley Smith for sure because, a bunch of their guys are locked up long term, like William Karlsson. He's locked up. So, I was looking around website stuff, many moves and stuff, but basically Riley Smith will be the big one, big name, and probably Braden McNabb headed out of Vegas with, I think they have two guys on their entry-level deals right now that are going to get sent down probably to save money. But yeah, they're riding on thin ice right now, basically. And so, yeah, Jack Eichel, Vegas.
To be honest, like if you're Vegas, like that's a good trade. Even
Yeah,
if you have that cap, you're getting Jack Eichel, who's probably a top 5, top 10 player in the NHL, 90 point scorer, my man, 90 point scorer. Like he's only 25 years old, and all you had to give up was Alex Tuck, around 50 point guy, like 20 goals,
good
really
player,
good,
good player.
good player. The franchise, everyone loves him. Tough loss, but whatever. And then Peyton Krebs was a very good prospect. You can deal without him, and then a first round pick, which is conditional and protected. So I don't know how they got away with that. And then a second
Yeah,
round pick, obviously.
this
Like,
was like yeah. Well, go ahead, and then I'll
but
go.
it
What?
almost like remember when Montreal traded Pacioretty? It was almost the same plus the first round. Like it's pretty
Yeah,
similar. Like Tatar.
basically they got Tatar, which Vegas traded a first round pick for, and they got
Yeah.
Suzuki. So basically, Vegas traded 2 first round picks for Max Pacioretty and a second round pick.
Yeah, exactly.
So which is a hefty toll, which looks great now for Montreal. I think they won that
But
trade
like it's
easily.
almost they gave up literally almost as much for Pacioretty than they did for Eichel, which like
Yeah, I mean, I think people are now taking the Vegas Golden Knights like Bill Foley told us years ago in 2017 he wanted a Stanley Cup within 6 years, and we all overlooked that. But no, they were dead serious with trading all of their future assets and getting guys like Mark Stone, who they traded their first round pick Eric Brandstrom for, Cody Glass they traded away, Nick Suzuki they traded away, Peyton Krebs they traded away. Now here's the thing: Jack Eichel, like you said, when healthy, top 10 center in the league, probably maybe top 5. You can make the argument, but he's there in the top 10, secured for sure. So when he's healthy, top 10. As we know, Vegas when they entered the league, the one thing they were missing was a first line center. Right now, their first line center is Chandler Stevenson. It was Chandler Stevenson. Right now it's not Chandler Stevenson because everyone's injured. But last year in the playoffs when they faced Montreal, Chandler Stevenson was technically the bona fide first line center for them. So clearly they needed a need for first line center, and they get that. And even if Jack, people say, oh, the injury, the injury is too big, the risk. Even if Jack Eichel potentially, if the injury gets him one step back, makes him that one step back kind of player, Jack Eichel's still he's still going to be your best player on the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah.
So I like, as we know, the artificial disc replacement has never been done before in the NHL. I don't know how successful it's been in other sports. So time will have to tell with this one. They wanted a fusion surgery, Buffalo, which is very common, which is just, I think they like it's screws or something to connect the vertebrae to. Listen, I'm no doctor, but I looked it over. Basically, what Jack Eichel wants is they're gonna take out his disc, because that's the medical term here, somewhere in the neck, and they're gonna put a prosthetic implant instead. That's gonna like stop the motion and it's gonna heal up apparently. So time will have to tell. But yeah, sorry. Listen, I love this trade by Vegas. They're on this timeline right now. They don't care about their future. They want the Stanley Cup. As we know, Vegas is this huge hockey market already in the NHL, and they have a bunch of fans already filling out the stadiums. And it's one of those they signed Petrangelo. It's going to be a free agency market place to go now. And so obviously, if they think they could, sign players in free agency, and now they have a good team built, championship caliber team now. They don't really care about the future, and who does care? You already traded basically. You traded 4 first round picks in your first 2 years, 2017, 2018. They had 3 in 2017, and then they traded their 28. So you traded 4 in 2 years basically, and they get Jack Eichel. He's gonna come in. He's coming to win now. Whereas Buffalo, they get Peyton Krebs. See, this is where it is with Buffalo. I'm like, there's really no NHL team that was willing to offer a NHL roster player that's good. Like Peyton Krebs is a young prospect, but he's unproven.
Yeah.
Bottom line is he's unproven player. He has 1 assist in 13 career games. We don't know what how he's going to be. Someone like Matthew Tkachuk, who wasn't involved, but technically, that would have made more sense for me from Buffalo's standpoint. But I guess, if they didn't really receive these offers, and Kevin Adams was saying this was the best trade at the time for them, then, I don't know if that's poor management, and maybe Jack Eichel should have been dealt sooner and other guys would have been available. But I would have loved to see an NHL. I mean, they got Alex Tuck, who is an NHL roster player, but I would have loved to see a skilled NHL right now player coming back the other way, some guy like Matthew Tkachuk. As we know, Carolina was actually third in the race. They are involved sneakily, Carolina. But Seth Jarvis and I believe Martin Nachas, Martin Nachas were involved in that trade. They didn't want to trade them. And Carolina shouldn't have to trade for Eichel. They got a good team right now, the way
Yeah.
it's built. They don't want to screw their cap situation. So kudos to them for not pulling the trigger and trading their young prospects. So yeah, Vegas now a Stanley Cup contender. They do
Oh
lose a
yeah.
key piece in Alex Tuck, but yeah, time will tell. This is definitely what we needed. Thank God it happened. I wanted to
Yeah.
see Jack Eichel play, and now he's finally out of Buffalo.
Because
So
I don't think people realize how good Jack Eichel actually like. Jack Eichel is a super like. Now that he's on Vegas, he's gonna be able to show like how actually good he is. Because he was getting like 90 points on Buffalo State. Imagine if
yeah.
he's playing with like top talent on a good team.
Well, let's just say this:
Like
he hasn't gone 90 points, but he was on a pace or whatever. But he's dealt
yeah,
with injuries and stuff like that.
exactly.
But exactly, yeah, he is a top 10 center, like we said. So yeah, I would have loved to see someone else go the other way for Buffalo. I don't know how Sabres fans feel about this. Like, Payne Krebs 17, who knows what kind of player he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be as good as Jack Eichel is going to be. No chance, in my
No, no.
opinion. So that's why I wanted to see more insurance go the other way. Is it a
Because
bit
that
underwhelming for Buffalo? Yes. It's a bit underwhelming, I think, in my
very
opinion, that
under yeah,
trade. But
very.
they had to get it done. They needed to trade Jack Eichel because he was getting disgruntled, and it wasn't good for anyone, for both parties, if they didn't get a trade done. So I respect Buffalo for pulling the trigger finally and trading Jack Eichel away. I wish they would have done it. I wish they just would have planned this better. I wish they would have planned this better because at one point they were still fighting for Jack Eichel to stick around, and they were still pushing for the fusion surgery. And like at that point, you just gotta let it go, man. The guy said no. He clearly doesn't want to play for you anymore, and they just kept pushing for him to for him to stay. And maybe at that point they should have just pulled the trigger and built a nice trade where they could have got some assets back. Instead, this is the best they could have got at the time. So I think in Vegas's point of view, where they are right now in their franchise, it's a great trade because it's a championship team. That Jack Eichel is going to be on your team for 5 more years. You got Mark Stone on that team, Max Pacioretty. I know they're in their 30s. Robin Lehner's 29. They got an old aging team, especially on the D corps. Petrangelo, Martinez. They got Shea Theodore who's still locked up.
Yeah.
So they still got a few years to contend here down the line. I don't know what their cup window is because they're going to lose guys like Riley Smith. Who knows who else they're going to have to trade away. But they got a few years here to contend for that Stanley Cup with those 30-year-olds still on the payroll. So I like the trade by Vegas, but Buffalo standpoint, just the way management handled the situation, underwhelming. I'd probably give it like a C plus, maybe a B, something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I do like this trade for Vegas. I mean, whenever you can get a guy like Jack Eichel, no matter what you give up,
Exactly.
you're gonna like
Yeah.
the trade because you're
And
getting a
they
special
didn't give
player
up
like
much.
that.
They didn't give up too much. Like
Yeah, not in
I
my
was surprised.
opinion. Even
Yeah.
though they have given up a lot already,
Yeah.
considering this is, if you don't look at their past and you look at this trade alone, it's not that much for a guy for Jack Eichel.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see Jack Eichel when he comes back, if it's before the regular season, because if it is, then they're gonna have to trade or make some moves, or maybe they pull a Kucherov, Eric, who knows, and they try and extend this thing towards Jack Eichel's back, $10 million doesn't count towards the salary, we get to keep our guys, but they can't afford to wait for that because the trade deadline by then will pass. And that means if they didn't trade anyone, then if he comes back, it's not going to work. Like they're going to have guys like Riley Smith who are still on payroll and stuff like that. In my opinion, they're not done. Someone's coming out of Vegas. A big player name like Riley Smith, in my opinion, is gone. I think he's gone. I think he knows it himself. I think he knows he won't be a Vegas Golden Knights by trade deadline around that time. And yeah, I think it's reasonable to assume that. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait for Jack Eichel to come back, see what that team looks like. It's gonna be excited for Vegas fans. Gonna be cup contending. Who knows what happens this year? I've always been a high on Vegas, Eric. Every year, I've almost taken Vegas to go to the cup final every year. I love that team. The way they're built and stuff like that, especially with Tuck on it. It was a big, heavy, tall team that really punishes you, but not good enough to beat the Montreal Canadiens, obviously. All right, Eric. Let's go into UFC talk. Eric, our reactions to UFC 268. My God, what a card. I mean, we
What a
expected
card.
it. We
Yeah.
got fed. We got spoon fed the card, Eric. It was
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, just some incredible fights, some prelim fights. Two,
Yeah.
I had some crazy I forget what the guy's name, that heavyweight guy with the spinning yoke.
Barnett.
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 But I mean, that was
That
pretty
was
that was a crazy, that wasn't that like one of the first that wasn't the first fight of the night anyway. I don't
no,
think
no.
so.
It was early, very early on though. It was
It was, yeah.
prelim, so
And
yeah.
then you had the Conor McGregor version two. I forget, Ian something. Talking about
Oh,
the takeover
yeah.
part two. But anyway, some prospects for the future of the UFC we're looking
Oh
at
yeah.
there. But let's talk about that main card. Starting off, my God, Chandler and Gaethje, Eric. I think we both had Gaethje on the podcast. We both
Yeah,
took
we
him.
did. We did.
We knew this fight was gonna be fireworks, and we knew the first round was gonna be fireworks. And my God, Eric, did it not
Oh my
disappoint?
God.
And did it
Yeah.
ever deliver? Did you believe like I mean, this was Gaethje and Chandler's game plan going in. They knew they were going for the first spot in the lightweight, the number one ranking, and they knew they wanted an explosive first round. By the way, Chandler did take the first step back. I was watching. He took the first step back, even though he was the one that put out the challenge. Right away, Gaethje threw a calf kick. Chandler knew he had to back up, so FYI. But Gaethje comes out with the win. Chandler calls out Conor McGregor. What's next for these two now? Gaethje's got to wait for the champ now,
Yeah.
Oliveira, Dustin to finish, and he's going to get the next title shot. Daniel Cormier reverting back on his words of saying Makhachev deserved it, now going and saying Justin Gaethje actually does
Yeah.
deserve it, which, yeah, he does. I mean,
Yeah.
that fight with Chandler, I mean, Eric, what'd you like? What do you expect now for these two guys moving forward?
So yeah, as you said, like incredible fight to begin with. The whole there, I don't think there's a single moment where it was dull or like we're like
No,
like
yeah.
the whole fight was entertaining. They didn't stop. So, but everyone knew that was gonna happen. But it was actually surprising to see it like with our own eyes. You know,
Yeah.
like people say, "Oh, it's gonna be a huge war," and this was actually a war.
Literally.
And then these two fighters, they're gladiators, man. Like they're just like that. So with Chandler, his situation, obviously, he has two losses, but like two losses to very good fighters, right? So you can't. He's still in the top five, right? So that's why I don't know if you saw, but Conor called him out.
Or he called Conor out.
Or he
and
called. He said
very
2022.
respectful. And we don't know if
Very-
that means Connor's gonna, if they actually do fight it, Connor's gonna become an asshole again, like he usually does. But we'll see.
We'll
But
see. Yeah,
those two
exactly.
want to fight.
But yeah, that would be a very good fight, very good matchup. Because other than that, like Chandler, because he already fought Dan Hooker, beat him up, and I don't think Chandler wants to go with that. Like, because right now Chandler, like, he has a lot of hype, coming
Yeah.
out this fight, even though he
Yeah.
lost, he
Yeah.
showed a very good display of his abilities and everything. So, like, he'll be looking for someone like Beneil Dariush or like a Tony Ferguson. I think Beneil Dariush would be a good fight for him. Like, if Beneil can get past Michael Chandler, then he can, but Michael Chandler,
Yeah.
get past Beneil Dariush. So I think that would be a very good fight. Or he could even fight someone like, Tony Ferguson or Conor McGregor. And then on the other side, Justin Gaethje. What's up, shit? Go on.
No, I was gonna say, like, Chandler's being smart right now. He's lining up
Yeah.
his potential next fights, and if he
Exactly.
has Dariush coming up, if that's his next fight, whatever, or if it's Conor the next fight, he'll have some elite fights
Exactly.
coming up. Which, even though he knows if he wins or loses, will still keep him relevant. I think.
Exactly.
If he puts on a show like he did against Gaethje.
Yeah.
But yeah, Justin Gaethje, yeah, first spot right now, I think.
So yeah, he has a first spot. Dana, like, he kind of alluded to, like, so coming into this fight, it was like, if Gaethje wins, he'll get the title fight. If Chandler wins, he's gonna have to wait a bit. But it's just because Gaethje obviously lost to Khabib, right? Everyone knows how good Khabib is. Like, so that's why it's like, give Gaethje the title fight again. Because realistically, Gaethje could have had the title fight instead of, it should have been Gaethje versus Oliveira. But I don't know what happened there. I don't know why Chandler got the fight, but it should have been Gaethje fighting there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do believe that Gaethje would beat Oliveira. So that's why they're like, give Gaethje the next fight. And then Chandler now, even if you won, I don't think Chandler was going to get the title. But now that Gaethje won, I think you put him to the side, wait for that fight, and then he'll fight the winner. And then, as we said, Chandler. But Islam in here is kind of tough because I could see Chandler fighting Islam realistically. That would,
Yeah.
if Islam can beat Chandler, you could really, but I don't know if Chandler would want to take that fight, because there's not, it's not
That's
like
yeah. I don't like. I'd be scared if I was Chandler to go against Islam and get
exactly.
embarrassed in the first round or something. If he gets
Yeah,
you to the ground, that would ruin your hype completely. That's why no one's calling out Islam right now. Even though
exactly.
Islam just come off a submission dominant win versus Dan
Yeah,
Hooker, nobody wants to fight this guy
no,
right now.
nobody. Because and then you have like Gaethje does like he doesn't have to look Islam's way. Like
No.
he's good. And
Yeah.
the thing is, I don't think Benel's gonna fight Islam just because they have the same manager in Ali.
Okay.
So I don't think they'd fight each other. It would be a good fight, but I don't think so. That's why Islam's in a tough position because it's hard for him to get fights, right? Because either people are too scared of him, and like if he could fight for the title realistically. He could beat anyone in the division.
Yeah.
So that's why. But he does need one fight before fighting for the title. That's like a guarantee. Like he needs one more fight. So we're just
We're just gonna have to wait now for Gaethje. Who knows?
exactly.
That's gonna be a long time before he fights now because December, and then he's probably gonna take a lot of months off. And so yeah. One fight I disappointed. The one fight that ruined our parlay, even though our parlay was gonna get ruined, because that's betting. Frankie Edgar, Eric, has been, I think, sent into the abyss, into the bantamweight abyss now with that loss versus Marlon Vera. Marlon Vera stays relevant as Frankie Edgar, the 40-year-old. Unfortunately, he looked good. He looked good.
Very good. Yeah.
I really did believe if he got a takedown in that round 5, he could have come out with the split decision win. But he wasn't shooting for those takedowns when we were yelling for him to shoot for those takedowns.
Yeah.
When there was like 2 minutes left, I was like, take him down, take him down. But no, Marlon Vera front kicks him right in the face. And obviously, you saw the legs. We were calling early stoppage, which was funny, because we were mad.
Knew, yeah.
But if you look back on it, he gets kicked and his legs completely just go out. And so,
do you see the picture of his face, like all like?
And obviously, you don't want to see Marlon Vera jump on him and just start wailing in the head. So
Yeah,
it was a good stop by the ref. Now that I look back on it, not an early stoppage. So unfortunately, not much to say about that. But not much to talk about for Frankie Edgar. I don't think I think it might be done for him. But Marlon Vera, with his win over Frankie Edgar, I don't know who he'd be looking to fight next or anything like that.
But he can definitely fight like a top 10. Top 5 guy, because don't forget he beat Frankie Edgar. He lost to Jose Aldo, which is kind of tough, but he beat Sugar Sean O'Malley too. So Marlon Vera is starting to become that big name. And if you look at the way like his aura about Marlon Vera, like if you watch him, he's pretty badass when he fights. Like he looks tall, like he just looks badass. Pointing the middle finger at Frankie Edgar. Found it funny because like when he was pointing a middle finger, I was like, "Hey, take off."
Yeah,
it's a sport where people literally try and kill each other. You're not gonna take off a point for
somebody somebody was yelling, take off a point. Whatever.
No, you don't. There's not really unsportsmanlike
No.
You can't really. You don't have it's fighting,
not.
right? So that's what makes fighting so interesting. But Frankie Edgar, his career, like Marlon Vera, was like
I think Frankie, he's 40. What? He's 40 now.
40.
I think like that.
He's
so
40.
And he just he lost Sanhagen, unfortunately KO. Marlon Vera KO. I don't see him getting much of a chance to go up again. But like you said, Marlon Vera now with a chance to fight someone in this top 10, hopefully. As we know, Rob Font, Jose Aldo, they're going to go at it. Of course, Sanhagen just fought. TJ Dillashaw. I don't know who wasn't he injured, I believe?
He was injured. That's why he didn't get the title fight.
So we don't know who he's, and then Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yang are going to fight. So, there's, I don't know who the Merab Dvalishvili. He's ranked number 7th anyway in the bantamweight, but I don't know who Marlon Vera could be fighting here right now. Maybe Corey Sanhagen.
No, I feel like
later on,
like there's 2 ways that the UFC can go by this. Either it's up to Marlon Vera too. It's either they put Marlon Vera because Marlon Vera he's starting to become a big name in bantamweight. A lot of people know who he is, right?
Yeah.
I think he cracked the top 10. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but
he did.
So he's starting to become a big name. So either because he's 28 years old, and fighting 28 is actually pretty young. So you can either put him against like a top 3, top 5 guy like in Sanhagen or someone like TJ Dillashaw, but he would be a huge underdog, right? But if he wins, he's right there, or you can put him against someone between like top 6 and top 10, right?
Yeah.
That he would fight, and then if he'd win, he just slowly move up the rankings. But it'd be up to Marlon Vera to realize how.
I'm sure he would want the top fight, right? To get his name up there.
It's easy to say. It's easy to say you want
That's
the top
true.
fight, but you don't really want a loss because he lost to Jose last time he fought like a. But don't forget, Frankie Edgar was ranked number 8 here. So, and Frankie Edgar is a very good fighter. Like,
but I just think it's because of his age. I don't see him like going forward. Like, there's no drive for him to win anymore. So that's why I think it's just done for him. But because now you have Pedro Munoz who's fighting, Corey Garbrandt's fighting,
but he's going down in a weight. Pedro Munoz is leaving the division.
Okay, so then Cody Garbrandt is gonna fight, and so there's the availability. I guess he's just gonna have to wait right now. And like you said, it surprises me that like fighters, like you're telling me that they're kind of scared of losing if they fight a top 5 fighter or something like that.
No,
is it like an experience thing? Like, do they think they don't have like they need the experience, or like you don't think Marlon Vera would be willing to fight TJ Dillashaw or something like that? I think you take that chance.
Okay, he probably would want to fight, but it's true. It's true. He probably would want to fight, but obviously you need Corey Sandhagen to be
because they just fought. Corey Sandhagen and Marlon Vera is a week off of each other, their fights, right? So their timeline, they could potentially set up a fight for them to get going, but that's up to Dana White in the UFC. But that's just a potential fight that could happen.
Yeah.
So and then the women's fight, Eric Namajunas, Rose the Thug versus Zhang Wei Li for the women's strawweight belt. Obviously, for some reason. Not for some reason, but Zhang Wei Li changed her camp and stuff like that, and she ended up losing this fight. Obviously, she was the favorite, so now Namajunas is the champ. Zhang Wei Li, I thought was gonna win. Namajunas for some reason on the ground, the wrestling, she was way better than Zhang Wei Li. Which is right. She does wrestle, Rose. She does. She has one of the highest percentages in the division when it comes to taking people down. So, but it was just I thought the extra training would have helped her. But I don't know. That was a good fight. Zhang Wei Li. I don't know who she'd fight next, or who Rose's fight would be in the women's strawweight. But it'd be interesting to see that fight.
It was so weird because I remember after the first 3 rounds, a lot of people had 30 had a 30-27.
Yeah.
Or even like everyone had Zhang Wei Li winning at that point. So I was very confident at that point. And then after the 4th and 5th, Rose just went back to the wrestling. Wrestling. Like once you get that control time, honestly, I think Zhang Wei Li probably outstruck Rose, but it's just the fact that like the 5th round, she's had control time. It wasn't like it wasn't doing that much damage. It's just control time. But that's what the UFC is. Like it is mixed martial art at the end of the day. If you're wrestling someone and you get to them the ground, you're getting points there. It's like even though you're not taking, you're getting points.
Yeah, because I thought she was winning the fight the first 2 rounds. I'd say she had the pace, and then 3, 4, 5. Once it got to the ground, which I was shocked because like her new training, I thought they'd be training wrestling and takedown defense and stuff like that. But no, the Rose obviously the best in the division. She's the best in the division. So good for her. But Eric, let's talk about the main event of the evening: Uzman versus Covington, the much anticipated rematch. Uzman, obviously, we had him at locked for a win, which he did end up with the it was unanimous division. What was it?
Yeah.
I have it here. The official score was 48-47, 48-47, 49-46, Eric. 49-46. Someone had 10-8 for 2 rounds or something like that.
No, they just had that means they only had Kobe winning. They only had
Kobe winning 1 round. Eric, for your opinion, well, I'll say mine. Uzman round 1 was a 10-9. Uzman round 2 was a 10-8. Round 4, these are my locks. Round 4, I give 10-9 Covington. And then round 5, probably Uzman 10-9. But round 3, I don't know if it was Covington or if it was Uzman. That one's a toss up. That's the one everyone's kind of going back and forth with. But that was a much. What I say, I knew How many takedown
you-
defenses did Uzman have? I knew Colby Covington was going to shoot
yeah.
for the
Oh my
takedowns.
God. Yeah.
I knew he was going to go for it because I'm telling you, Uzman's striking. First of all, we have wow, there's a lot to unpack. But anyway, Colby
Yeah.
Covington shot takedowns, didn't. I mean, his takedown defense was I think 10 out of 10 or something like that. But Covington should
Yeah.
have been scored with a takedown.
No, he
Uh,
did.
oh,
Usman did
they
say that.
okay, yeah,
No,
but they didn't score it. I think I don't think they
they didn't.
scored.
But technically,
Yes.
Usman did say. Usman said that he took him
Yes,
down.
yes. And Daniel Cormier was saying that as well. Weird that they didn't count it. But here's a weird thing. So we're talking about Uzman and, his strength and his chin and stuff like that. But Covington, Eric, he stunned him a few times in that fight.
Yeah.
He stunned Uzman. And what surprised me is the urge for him not to attack Uzman. He stunned him. And then I was like, okay, but like, where's the 3-4? You give me the 1-2, but where's the 3-4? He kind of laid off, in my opinion, where I was like, oh my God, like he stunned him. He could jump on him and win this fight. And I didn't see that, which was shocking for me to see from Colby Covington. I really thought if he saw Uzman get hurt, he was going to start wailing, which he was. Some points he was wailing. He was missing a lot, but I really thought he shoot for a takedown or something. I was just surprised. Now, here's the question. Do we really believe Uzman's chin is as strong as we thought it was?
Oh my God, it is though. It is. Stop playing. It is.
Stop
it
playing.
is.
Colby
He didn't even
Covington's
get
a good
knocked
striker.
down.
I know
But
he didn't get knocked down, but Colby Covington's a good striker, but he's not one of the, Uzman might be. Well, I don't know who the best striker in that division is right now.
It's either Wonder Boy or Jorge Masvidal, realistically.
Okay, yeah, but so then but is it? What about Gilbert Burns? He doesn't strike.
Gilbert Burns is a powerful striker.
That's what I'm saying.
Not
So I'm
his main
saying
thing.
I know it's not his main thing, but like,
But
I don't
Gilbert
know.
Burns
He did what
Gilbert
he
Burns
fought,
knocked him down.
That's what I'm
Gilbert
saying.
Burns did knock down Kamaru, so that's why
I'm just saying Uzman showed a lot of these fighters in the division some points of weakness where they can attack.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I really, because he did have a strong chin. Yeah, you're right. He didn't get knocked down. He did knock Colby Covington down twice in the second round, and that's why it was a 10-8. So yeah, I'm not saying anything like that. I was just surprised that Colby Covington was able to stun Kamaru Uzman as many times as he did in that fight. And I was just shocked he didn't jump on that. So that's where I'm like, can I trust Uzman's? Yeah, he's the GOAT of the welterweight, not the GOAT. Sorry, he's right now currently in that welterweight. Yeah. He's the best. Nowhere near GSP. I don't know why Dana White said that he was better than GSP. That was so.
Don't forget,
he doesn't like
promoter.
GSP.
Don't forget, Dana White is a promoter, right? So you got to promote your fighters.
Sure, yeah, I guess. But Uzman's not on GSP's level. Forget about it. Not there yet. He has 5 title defenses right now.
6 title fights, which is good. 6 title fights, 6 title wins. Fight.
Yeah.
But GSP, don't forget, he has 13 title fights.
And he's a 2-time, or not 2-time, he's a 2-division winner as well.
Okay, but that shouldn't hold too much weight because don't forget, it was Michael Bisping. Like, I understand Michael Bisping, but
yeah, the middleweight division at the time was weak. And but
yeah.
I need to see, if Uzman goes up and beats Adesanya, I'll crown him greatest of all time.
Okay.
Because the way Adesanya is fighting right now, and he would have that.
Yeah,
I mean, that'd be a good fight too, and that would make a lot of money. Sorry, no, I'm wrong. I don't know. Uzman's got to keep going right now in the welterweight, killing it, whatever, and then he fights Adesanya at one point and wins. Okay, then we can discuss. Because Michael Bisping and Adesanya, it's like this. Obviously, him versus Adesanya, if he were to win, that'd be much more than George versus Michael Bisping. But
but you have to see it like this, because don't forget, Uzman, when he came in the UFC, he's fought really good fighters, and he has 15 wins in the UFC in 15 fights, right? 15 fight win streak. The record is 16 by Anderson Silva. He's gonna break that, but he only got his title fight. Like, it took him 9 fights to get a title shot. George St. Pierre got one in 3 fights, so that's why there's a huge gap, right? But it took Uzman a lot longer, so that's why people are giving Uzman a bit more credit. But he definitely isn't on George St. Pierre's level yet, but he is getting close, right? Because just on the fact that he's fought 15 times, he's won 15 times, and I'd say 11 out of 12 of those fights were against very, very good fighters. Because don't forget, he fought in non-title fights. He had to fight Leon Edwards. He fought Sean Strickland. He still had to fight RDA, and these are non-title fights. So he still fought good competition, but obviously GSP he's still up there. But hey, Kamaru's starting to catch up,
Oh
So
yeah. Oh, he's definitely a breathing. But as we know, Kamaru Usman 15, that is good for second on longest win streak, right
yeah,
behind
and
Anderson Silva. Sorry, I don't know why I
yeah,
was saying Addison Ray, but Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva was 16. So
yeah,
yeah, you just got to fight one more person to tie the
yeah.
record. So Eric, what is next for Colby Covington?
Okay,
What's next for Kamaru Usman? As we know, Covington. He's already calling out Jorge, and Jorge has already
yeah,
been called out now. Jorge, first of all, has to fight Leon Edwards.
yeah,
And he has Colby Covington who wants to fight it. And he has Hamzat Chimaev who called him out and wants to fight him.
yeah.
So what's Covington got to do to get back to this title chase?
So yeah, exactly. Kamaru, realistic. What's not gonna lie, it's very tough for Kobe right now, just because if Kamaru is still the champ, Kobe's gonna have to wait and wait until Kamaru
Yeah.
if Kamaru's there's no way he's gonna get a trilogy fight just on the fact that Kamaru was not so dominant in the fight, but it wasn't close. So he's gonna have to wait. I don't know if he's ever gonna get that trilogy. He might have to wait a very long time.
Yep.
So that's why it's Kobe, he can continue waiting because Kamaru has been hinting oh, I'm getting old. I'm trying to get all my fights, my family, whatever. He's been talking about. So people are oh, is he gonna retire soon? What? So I'd say Kobe, Jorge, he'd destroy. First of all, he'd destroy Jorge Masvidal. Everyone knows he'd destroy him. He'd be a huge favorite in that fight. Jorge is just a big name that everyone wants to fight right now because he's a huge name. He's one of the biggest UFC, most popular UFC
and they
fighters.
know they can beat him.
And realistically, a lot of people do believe he can beat him. I honestly believe Leon's going to be able to easily beat him, but that's going to be a really close fight because Jorge might win that. And then, because realistically, if Jorge beats Leon, that Kobe fight, that should happen 100%.
That happened next. That should be the next fight.
But
Screw Chimaev.
Yeah, exactly. But if Jorge loses, and Leon's going to get the title shot next, so there's no way Kobe's gonna be able to fight Leon. So I'd say Kobe should fight Jorge at that, not fight Jorge, because Jorge's gonna lose, right?
Yeah.
So because
true. I wonder if Colby's thinking that now because that's a good point to make. I wonder if he's thinking if Jorge loses, do I take this fight?
Yeah.
I don't know. You got Vicente Luque.
But he's a perfect match. Vicente Luque is a perfect matchup for Kobe. I think Vicente Luque versus Kobe, you make that happen. And realistically, Vicente Luque, he's good on the ground. He can strike. Exactly. He's powerful. Vicente Luque gets that win. He's gonna be he's already a pretty decent big name. So once he gets that, or even put Kobe against Gilbert Burns because Gilbert Burns lost against Kamaru, and he's gonna have to wait a while too. So if Gilbert can get past Kobe, he should be right back in that title shot. So it's tough. Yeah. Should Kobe just switch weights at this point? Just
go fight Conor McGregor, fuck.
Or go to 185, go down to 155.
Yeah, or something. Middleweight. No, but yeah, you're right. Because like I said, I did mention this that Colby, if he were to lose this fight, it would hurt him in the division.
Exactly.
Because his arch nemesis, who is Kamaru Usman, he's 0-2 against him. What else do you have? That's how you were selling your name to the UFC and selling all these tickets is because, arch nemesis, this rivalry, the second fight, whatever. Now that's done. What do you have to do to sell yourself?
Exactly.
You go fight Jorge. And, if he loses, you still stay with that fight against Jorge who's lost. And, does that give you much hype to move up the rankings? Or if Leon wins, I'm sorry. Yeah. If Jorge loses, who does you fight next? Vicente Luque. I mean, that would be a big fight if Colby Covington were to come out to win or came out with the win. That would be big for his name. But then you said Kamaru. It's so tough right now for Colby Covington.
Yeah.
Losing that fight put him in this bad, terrible situation. Yeah. And I don't really think he cares anymore about the belt. Because he knows his name or his reputation right now just got destroyed by Kamaru. So maybe he's just cashing it for the pay-per-views. But Vicente Luque would be a good fight. All right.
Exactly.
There's that. Quickly now, Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez is happening this Saturday. Vegas fight. Eric, who do you like in that fight? Obviously, that's for the number one contender in the featherweight division. Who you got to go with? I think we already know.
Okay, come on, Max Holloway, easy. I'm so excited to see Max Holloway because anytime Max Holloway fight, it's absolute bang. This guy is so his striking doesn't get taken down. He is so good at just MMA. He's such a probably I'd
Yeah.
say my third favorite, like top three favorite fighters. I love Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez. Because okay, this is Max Holloway's in a similar spot, not as bad as Kobe, but he is in a similar spot where he lost twice to
Yeah.
the champ, but his fights were so much closer though.
Exactly.
Both fights were the second fight. All is a lot of people had Max winning that fight, like had like on the scorecard had him winning that fight. Even the first fight is pretty debatable, right? So that's why people are like, so if you see Max, he just destroyed Calvin Kattar. He just absolutely not. If he destroys Yair Rodriguez, he's fine. He's gonna get that trilogy, right? So it's like, but it's tough to get a trilogy fight when you already lost twice. And
I would say this: the fact that Max Holloway has already been the champ of the featherweight division gives him that ability for that trilogy fight. But like this division right now, Volkanovski is just going to dominate and stuff. Then people are going to get tired of it. They want to see a good fight, and they know Max Holloway is going to give them that good fight, even though he's lost twice. They've been great two fights. And Brian Ortega, that's
why I love that Max Holloway. He's showing that he's gonna fight anyone. He wants to get back in that title fight, and he's showing that he's way above all these other fighters. Calvin Kattar was a huge spot, absolutely destroyed him. And I think Yair Rodriguez was a really good fighter. I think Max Holloway is going to show how good of a fighter Max is.
Is it go decision or is it ending KO, TKO? You think Max Holloway, or do you think he tries to play it safe so he can claim that number one spot?
Because the way Max Holloway fights, he doesn't punch the hardest, but he punches you so many times it just fucks you up, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I want to say I'm gonna say decision, but I'm gonna say Max Holloway dominates. Yeah, dominates the fight, like something like 120 plus strikes, which is really good for a fight. Like I think can easily hit 100 some. I think he's gonna put on a masterpiece. Holloway always comes through. He punched Calvin Kattar 400 times. 400.
Yeah. I don't know Yair Rodriguez personally. I don't know how he is with that high striking number. Like, is he going to be able to take all those punches, or is he going to get knocked out, TKO'd? Who knows? Mm-hmm. But you heard it from Eric. If there is a bet you're looking for on Betway for this Saturday, it is Max Holloway by unanimous decision. Yeah. Lock it in. This has been another episode of the Chtib Zhang Show. Thank you for listening on Spotify or watching with us here on YouTube. Yeah. Next week, I guess we'll have to wait and see what we have. Wait for the sports world to get going next week. Maybe it'll be hockey. We haven't talked hockey in a while. There's nothing really to talk about with the Canadians. I mean, guys, sadly enough, could be the end for the Canadians this season. Early, they have to play like 600 something hockey to make the playoffs in the Atlantic. Doesn't look too good right now, so whatever. But
the Detroit Red Wings though. Oh we're looking not bad.
What's going on with the NHL? Detroit, Buffalo are up. Like I want what month is it going to? Is it going to be December where it goes back to reality? Everyone's just going to wake up like, oh, there you go, Detroit shit, Buffalo shit, and Montreal.
We have the two Calder favorite. We have the two Calder favorites right now. Our team's looking good. Hey, I don't want to talk too much. Knock on wood.
Listen, if Detroit wins, or if Detroit makes the playoffs,
oh my god,
I think
you have to be a Detroit. You have to be a Detroit fan for the playoffs.
I think I'll shave my eyebrow if they make the playoffs.
Shake on it right now. Shake on it right now.
I'll fucking shake on it right now. Detroit.
Hey, shake on it right now.
Okay,
this is gonna get clipped.
Detroit is not making the playoffs. I'll shave my eyebrow if they make the playoffs.
No. Okay, perfect.
Well, I'm not shaving both. Fuck, or maybe I should shave. I don't know.
You get notch. You get notch. Get a notch.
Get a notch. I'll get a notch. I like that. I'll get a notch if Detroit, or maybe the whole thing. I don't know. I'm so confident though that they don't make the goddamn playoffs. No chance. Just a nice run. It's good for Detroit. This is good. This is good for Detroit, Eric. It's good for them. Good for the fans. Good for the team. They got people in the stands. So they're winning, but then they'll start losing. So thanks again. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace. Roll the outro.